Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, back to work. It's Monday. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs' first preseason game in New Orleans. Your thoughts, sir?
That's the key. First preseason game. And it's on the road, of course. Now, the critics will say it's an exhibition game, doesn't count. And that's true, it does not. But your ultimate objective anytime you go out is to win. And the Chiefs did not win. It was a fluke on which they lost. But over and above that, they did lose 26-24 to the Saints. Having said all that, what were the impressions? Well, I was a little bit disappointed in the Chiefs' defense on their first drive that Derek Carr put out for the New Orleans Saints. Drove the ball right down the field and scored a touchdown. Then scored a second touchdown, and the Saints are up by a score of 14-0 at one point. I didn't think the Chiefs' defense played with a whole lot of fire, and that may be because Chris Jones is not there. In fact, I'm quite sure that is the reason. Jones puts a lot of fire and pressure. Derek Carr, I thought, was very impressive, but would he have been as impressive with Jones bearing down on him from behind and leading the others as well? Also, the Chiefs may have been banged up a little bit. Defensive backfield didn't play as well as they could have, but it's first game. The Chiefs' offense, I thought that Mahomes, at the start of the game, Andy Reid says he'll play the first quarter. Balderdash. They had no plan on him playing the first quarter. I think he played 5 snaps is what it was, and took the ball downfield. I thought their play in which they went for the first down on a 4th and 1, I thought was a little odd. It was a handoff to the big kid from Oklahoma, Blake Bell, but that didn't work. Be that as it may, would that have happened during the regular season? No. And would the interception by the kid from South Dakota State, the quarterback in there? No, that would not have happened. But over and above all that, Chiefs do have some work to do. I think Andy Reid admitted that. He said, hey, we have some defensive adjustments that do need to be made, and you have cuts that need to take place as well. Some of the newcomers played well, but others did not. So again, it's a work in progress. We'll have to see what happens on Saturday night.
My perspective, yes, the secondary was really sluggish yesterday. The ones. I thought the 2s and 3s almost played better, but again, they're playing against the Saints 2s and 3s, but they looked like they were playing better. It was very obvious we missed Chris Jones out there, but again, it's preseason. But the defense didn't look great. That 4th and 1 call, Blake Bell got his butt trashed so quick. I mean, it was like, dude, hopefully that's a good lesson here that you don't call that play again in the regular season if it comes down to. And we were one of the worst at 4th and 1s in the entire league last year. And to start off our new season with that and to not get it, not happy. I agree with everything you say. The one thing too, though, I thought it was a little bit better to watch the seconds in the seconds and 3s. To be honest with you, the 2s and 3s play down the line when normally in a preseason game it kind of gets boring and stuff. I was actually more excited watching those guys play than I was in that first drive with Mahomes and everybody else.
As you should be, because a lot of those guys are playing for their jobs, so their motivation is very high. And this is not a knock at the Chiefs, this is a knock at the National Football League, this ridiculous blackout rule. Why on earth? I didn't see the game.
It was on 27.
I couldn't get it.
Yeah, you got to I'll come over and mess with your rabbit ears.
Well, I'm.
And we're not watching the game. We're listening to the game anyway.
We listened to the game. We listened to Mitch Holtis describe it, and he did his usual outstanding job.
And to hear Art on there yesterday was awesome too.
And Art is right back in gear. Maybe not physically at full strength, but he certainly is verbally. And it was good to hear him.
Football is back. Had a bunch of it happen over the weekend, all of it preseason action, but it didn't make me miss baseball, which was weird because St. Louis and Kansas City had yesterday off, didn't they?
As far as I can determine, that's unprecedented. I can't find a record where that ever happened with any club, really. Well, I'm sure that has happened, a club being given Sunday off, but this is not a rain date, folks. They were not scheduled. The Royals and Cardinals were not scheduled. And this is the result of a computer. You can have all the artificial intelligence in the world doing that work, and mathematically it's fine, but the human element is not. And the computer saw that the Royals and Cardinals, I should say, were playing 4 game series, 2 in St. Louis, 2 in Kansas City. Well, we'll schedule them Friday and Saturday. What about Sunday? Oh, what day is that? That computer doesn't have a mind, and not realizing that no team takes off on Sunday. That's how it came out. And Major League Baseball did nothing about it. So we had no no Missouri baseball other than the Springfield Cardinals, and they did play. Now, St. Louis is back in action tonight up in St. Louis. They're playing the Oakland A's, and this is a 3-game series, and this is a great chance for the Cardinals to sweep and get 3 games and maybe close that gap. They're right now 14 games under 500. It could end up with 11. Then the New York Mets, who are disheveled, are coming in. Hey, the Cardinals have a great chance to make up a lot of ground. The Royals will play the Seattle Mariners tonight up in Kansas City. But fact of the matter remains, the baseball season, these are what are called the dog days of August. And the non-contending teams, you say, well, are they playing hard? Yes, they are, because they're professional athletes, number one, and a lot of them are playing for a contract next year. Keep in mind, there's some who will be free agents after next season, and that in and of itself does make a difference. But baseball coming back tonight as far as both teams. Springfield Cardinals did lose their game yesterday. Kid named Terso Orsani had 2 home runs for the San Antonio Missions, and the second of the home runs was a 2-run shot in the 8th inning that put his team ahead 5-4, and that is how the Cardinals lost it. Had their chances. Springfield playing well. You've got to play better than that to be in the playoffs, and they did not get it last night.
On top of what you had said about the dog days of August, a lot of these players are playing for incentives, too. I mean, certain amount of hits they get during the year, certain amount of defensive plays. They're all kinds of incentives, like bonuses. But really, the most important one is hopefully getting Waino those 2 wins. That's. But I don't know. I don't know if it's realistic.
The Cardinals don't know either, because they issued a statement yesterday saying we're re-evaluating where he's going to be, which tells me he's not going to be in the starting rotation. He can't be. He's getting shelled, and the Cardinals are out of games by then. He knows it, and he's just as upset as anybody. Does want those 2 wins. It may have to come out of the bullpen, or it may have to come in a fluke situation in which the Cardinals get a 10 or 11-0 lead.
Then they bring him in
and let him go and leave when it's 11-10 or something.
Yeah, when was the last time that happened for St. Louis, though? That's the problem. All right, St. Jude Classic. Who got the win there?
Lucas Glover, and it's the 2nd consecutive week. Only this time, he won the Wyndham Classic last week. This time, it is a qualifier for the Tour Championship, which comes up later on in August in Atlanta, and the first prize. This was a $20 million purse, and Lucas Glover pockets $3,600,000. Now, if he goes on to win the tournament, the Tour Championship, that's an $18 million first prize, and that's pretty doggone good. Lucas Glover had the lead almost from tee to green in this tournament, but down the stretch he got caught. Patrick Cantlay tied him at the end, and I think Rory McIlroy was only 1 stroke back and threatening big time. So Glover and Cantlay go into a 1-hole play, or actually a sudden death playoff. It turned out to be 1 hole, and Lucas Glover won it. 2nd consecutive victory, and that doesn't happen very often on the tour in consecutive weeks. But Lucas Glover, big win, $3,600,000.
Man, it's a big purse, my dude. Last but not least, do they actually get some racing done on a Sunday in NASCAR? Finally,
this was the Brickyard 200 is what they call it, because it's done on the road course inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And they built that road course about, I'm going to say 7, 8, 9 years ago, and it goes through the massive infield and then back on the main track again. Only when they go on the main track, they're going the wrong way. They're going whatever that opposite direction is. It's kind of unique, to say the least. But a guy named Michael McDowell got the win. He took the checkered flag yesterday. Well, who's Michael McDowell? Well, he's one of these guys who's in every race. He enters every race, wins very few of them. He did win the Daytona 500 2 years ago, which was a huge win, and he wins this one yesterday and wins it comfortably. One of those guys who goes out there and kind of waits for the breaks, and the breaks came his way, and he gets a victory. It also qualifies him for the NASCAR playoffs, and the amount of vacancies in that is narrowing with every week.
Yeah, man. Exciting stuff. Big congratulations to him, too, Ned. You have a great week. I'll see you tomorrow.